making it. So we thought about this thing. I said, you know what? I had a praise break in my house because it ain't nobody but God. How is it that you're making it when the enemy thought that that last blow that you took was going to take you out? Right. Not just take you out physically, but it was going to take you out spiritually. Because you were going to give up on God. You were going to give in. And you were going to just forget all about the things that God had promised you. But God is a promise keeper. And He's able to come through on His promises. So therefore, it's 801. But therefore, when you recognize who God is and what God has done and what God is capable of doing, it does not matter what your situation looks like. All that matters is who God is and what God looks like. Now, notice the text. The man in chapter 9. Chapter 9 only talks about healing. That's it. It's just about healing all the way down. But here's the thing. This man knew his situation, but never saw it. We freak out because we know our situation and we see it. Right. But a lot of times it's not what it looks like. Because this man understood that even though I can't see my situation, I know it. But I serve a God that can open up my eyes, and when He opens my eyes, it's different than what I thought I saw. Amen. So therefore, no matter what your bank account look like, no matter what your house situation look like, no matter what you think your educational situation looks like, despite what everybody looks like, right, it does not matter. All that matters is that when God begins to see, we're looking through the natural eye. Right. But when God gives us a newness and allows us to open up our spiritual eye, your situation is not going to look like what it looks like now. Mm-hmm. Because God's going to open your eyes, but when He opens your eyes, you're going to see something totally different than what you thought you saw. Because God's going to give you new vision. I used to have 20/20 vision. I went to the doctor, and the lady told me, sorry, sir, I hate to tell you this, but you ain't got 20/20 no more. I said, well, I know that hell why I'm sitting here now. So she said, all right, you need bifocals. I said, I'm not wearing no big, thick glasses. She said, no, we got some nice ones out there. Just go pick you out a pair. I went and picked me out a pair. Okay, cool. Lord, you don't know why I picked out that high pair of glasses. And then lost them in December. I ain't seen my glasses in almost a year. Don't know where they at. But here's the thing. Even though my glasses are lost and I can't see physically like I used to, the great thing about it is now that my physical eyesight has decreased a little bit, my spiritual eyesight has increased. So I'm glad I can't see perfect vision like I used to, because then it might really scare me. And my situation might get me even more down than I have been here lately. But the great thing about it is when one sense goes, the other senses increase. That's right. So I don't just work off sight, hearing, taste, smell, all that stuff like that. I got another sense, which is called my spiritual eyesight and my spiritual hearing. Because the great thing about it is when my physical decreases, my spiritual increases. So that way, my spiritual says, even though it may look down and out right now, even though you might have stuff in the mailbox that you're scared to open the mailbox for, and I check it once a week, even though you might not want to come down here and look at the church mailbox every time you turn around, or whatever the case is, the fact still remains that guess what? My spiritual eyesight kicks in and says that God, He's never left me, He's never forsaken me, He'll provide my every need, all things will work together for my good. God told me I was the head, not the tail, so I don't have to worry about nobody coming against me. God has reminded me of all these things because my spiritual eyesight and my spiritual hearing has kicked in when I'm asleep and I'm tossing and turning and I wake up in the middle of the night. God tells me, I'm still right here with you. So no matter what it looks like, no matter what it feels like, God can heal your situation. All He wants you to do is just stand firm to what He promised you. He never promised you that life was going to be peaches and cream. But He did promise you that you'll have everything that you need. Some of the things that we might have lost, some of the things that we might be struggling to hold on to. The fact remains that if you lose it, it's a good chance that God didn't have it for you anyway. But because of the way that the world looks, it took me a long time to get to that point. Because I thought if I lost something, that was just the end of the world. If I got a turn-off nose at the house, I ain't never known what that seemed like. I never understood it. If my bank account didn't have decent money in it, I never understood what to do. Until now. I know what to do now. Just keep on going.
That's right.
Ain't no need to mope around like I was. Cause guess what? Moping ain't do nothing but tell everybody else what I'm going through.
That's right.
And that I'm going through something. And then they look at me and say, well, what about that God you talk about?
Right.
Even the atheists, when they going through, they know how to holler out. So if I'm a Christian and a believer, why can't I holler out?
Right.
So don't ever think that just because you're going through that God can't heal your situation, because He can. And just because the folk get you together and they try to stone you for what you've done, you know that you're free from the bondage of sin. And just because of the fact that, you know that you have Him living on the inside of you, you have light in a dark situation, and therefore you know that you can make it. John chapter 8 and 9, they work hand in hand. God is light, God is a healer, and God will protect you when folk try to kill you. So